Why Adidas is beating Nike at the World Cup. Hook Adidas and Nike spend years preparing for the World Cup. They sign teams, they build kits, they plan campaigns. They ship merchandise before a single ball is kicked. Then the tournament starts, and the strategy becomes measurable. This year, the early numbers are uncomfortable for Nike. Reuters reported that visits to Adidas stores in the United States surged 47% during the first week of the World Cup, compared with 2026 averages. Nike factory stores rose 11% in the same comparison. That does not mean Adidas has already won the whole tournament. It does mean Adidas is getting a stronger early retail lift from the event. The important point is not just the rivalry. The important point is what the rivalry reveals. The World Cup is not only a marketing event, it is a live stress test of two retail machines. Context: a sportswear company can buy attention before a tournament. It can sponsor a team. It can put athletes in ads. It can fill store windows with jerseys and boots. But attention is only the first step. The business question is whether that attention turns into shopping behavior. A fan has to see the product. They have to want it now. They have to find it in the right size. They have to accept the price. Then they have to buy before the emotional moment disappears. That is why major tournaments are so useful to retailers. They create urgency that normal product launches cannot create. A national team jersey is not just apparel during a World Cup. It is a way to participate in the event. A match ball is not just equipment. It is the object at the center of every game. A boot is not just a shoe. It is attached to the player who scores the goal. That is the commercial power of football. Industry: Nike and Adidas are both global sportswear companies, but they enter this World Cup from different positions. Adidas has the deeper tournament, native association. It is an official World Cup sponsor. It supplies the Trionda match ball. It sponsors 14 national teams, according to Sports Business Journal's summary of Reuters reporting. That gives Adidas repeated visibility before, during, and after matches. Nike has a different kind of strength. It is larger by revenue. It has enormous athlete visibility. It outfits 12 national teams. It has boots on many of the tournament starters. Reuters counted 232 of 528 starters in Nike boots, with Adidas close behind at 218. So Nike is not absent from the event. The problem is that Nike needs the event to do more work. Nike's fiscal 2025 revenue fell 10%. In Q3 fiscal 2026, Nike direct revenue was still down on a reported and currency-neutral basis. Nike-owned stores were down 5%. That makes the World Cup more than a branding opportunity. It becomes a chance to prove that product energy is returning. History: this rivalry has always had two different centers of gravity. Adidas builds much of its global identity through football institutions. The company is tied to balls, kits, clubs, national teams, and tournament history. For many fans, Adidas looks like part of the football infrastructure. Nike built its football presence later, but it did it through speed, athletes, boots, and culture. Nike made football feel modern, aggressive, and personal. That strategy worked for decades. But the 2026 tournament arrives at a strange moment. Adidas has been recovering strongly after the Yeezy disruption. Its 2025 net sales reached 24.811 billion euros. Its 2025 gross margin was 51.6%. In Q1 2026, Adidas said currency-neutral revenue rose 14%. It also said direct-to-consumer revenue rose 22%. That matters because the World Cup does not create a retail machine from nothing. It amplifies the machine that already exists. Business model. The mechanism starts with sponsorship. Sponsorship gives a brand the right to be visibly connected to the event. For Adidas, that means the match ball, team kits, retail displays, and official tournament language. The next step is product demand. Fans do not just watch the tournament, they buy pieces of it. They buy a Mexico jersey. They buy a Germany shirt. They buy a ball for their backyard. They buy boots because a player they follow wears them. That demand then moves into channels. Some of it goes to Adidas stores. Some goes to Nike stores. Some goes to JD Sports, Dick's, Fanatics, local soccer shops, and department stores. Some goes online. This is where the event becomes operational. A brand has to forecast demand before it sees the demand. It has to choose how many jerseys to produce. It has to decide which teams get wall space. It has to place inventory near fans at the right time. If it gets that right, the event creates retail momentum. If it gets that wrong, the event creates unsold inventory. Key factors. The first key factor is official association. Adidas owns one of the strongest assets in the tournament, the ball. Every kickoff, pass, free kick, and replay repeats the same association. FIFA says Trionda uses connected ball technology with a 500 Hz motion sensor chip. That turns the ball into both a product and a technology story. It gives Adidas something Nike cannot easily copy inside this tournament. The second factor is store activation. The Reuters numbers are about visits, not just ads. A 47% lift means people physically went to Adidas stores at a much higher rate than usual. That is the middle of the funnel. It shows that attention reached the street level. The third factor is inventory productivity. This is where Nike has a counter-argument. LSEG reported that 28% of Nike's US World Cup merchandise sold out in the first 2 weeks. Adidas was at 7%. That sounds like Nike is winning that metric. And on that metric, it is. But sell-through has to be interpreted carefully. A high sold-out rate can mean demand is strong. It can also mean supply was tighter. A lower sold-out rate can mean weaker demand. It can also mean a brand stocked more inventory because it expected more volume. So the Adidas story is not that every number beats Nike. The story is that Adidas is generating broader event traffic while Nike is showing strength in specific merchandise conversion. Implications. For Adidas, the implication is momentum. The company already entered 2026 with stronger reported growth. Its Q1 performance category rose 29% on a currency-neutral basis. Adidas specifically pointed to football momentum from away jerseys, home kits, Trionda, and retro football apparel. That means the World Cup sits inside an existing growth story. For wholesale partners, that matters. Retailers want brands that bring people into stores. They want product that moves at full price. They want proof that shelf space will turn into revenue. If Adidas can show traffic, demand, and healthy full-price selling, it can strengthen future wholesale conversations. For Nike, the implication is pressure. Nike is still huge. It is still visible on the field. It is still selling through tournament merchandise in the United States. But the World Cup is happening while investors are watching for turnaround evidence. A normal Adidas win would be interesting. An Adidas win while Nike is trying to rebuild product heat is more important. Risks. There are several ways to overread the early data. First, the tournament is still a short window. First week foot traffic does not prove full tournament sales. It does not prove margins. It does not prove long-term market share. Second, the metrics are not identical. Adidas store visits are not the same thing as Nike factory store visits. Store traffic is not the same thing as sell-through. Sell-through is not the same thing as profit. Third, event merchandise can pull demand forward. A jersey bought in June may replace a jersey that would have been bought later. A sold-out product can create heat, but it can also cap revenue. An overstocked product can create revenue opportunity, but it can become markdown risk after the tournament. That is why the best interpretation is balanced. Adidas appears to be winning the early retail halo. Nike still has important strengths in product sell-through and on-field visibility. Conclusion. The World Cup makes the Adidas versus Nike rivalry easy to see. But the deeper lesson is about retail systems. A tournament does not automatically create sales. It creates attention. The company has to convert that attention into traffic. Then it has to convert traffic into purchases. Then it has to convert purchases into brand momentum. Adidas is ahead early because more of that machine appears to be working at once. It has the official association. It has the ball. It has football category momentum. It has stronger first-week store traffic in the Reuters data. Nike is not out of the game. It is too large, too visible, and too strong in product to dismiss. But this World Cup shows why brand marketing is not enough. The winner is not just the company with the biggest campaign. It is the company that turns the campaign into inventory movement, store visits, sell-through, and heat. That is why Adidas is beating Nike at the World Cup right now.